Good morning, Alan Mayer here again. We're on day 206 of our trek through the Bible. We're looking at the book of Revelation at the moment. For the last time, we've been looking at Apocalypses, and now we're looking at something towards the end of the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 21, verses 1 to 8, all about the new creation. I'll turn you around so you can see the text. I also saw a new heaven and a new earth, because the first heaven and the first earth were no longer with us, and the sea no longer existed. I, John, also saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, ready like a bride, prepared for her husband in her wedding dress. I also heard a loud voice from the throne speaking, "Pay attention. God is based amongst humans, and he will set up camp with them, and they shall be his peoples, and God will personally be with them and be their God. He will wipe every teardrop from their eyes, and death shall no longer exist, nor shall mourning or crying or distress exist any more, because the first things are no longer with us." And the one who sits on the throne said, "Pay attention, I am making everything afresh." Also he said to me, "Get this down in writing, because these words are true and faithful." And he said to me, "Now, it's finished. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To whoever is thirsty, I myself will give generously water from the fountain of life, free of charge. The victors will inherit these things, and I will be God to them, and they children to me. On the other hand, there is a place, a lake of burning sulphur, the second death, waiting for the cowards, traitors, perverts, the murderers, the immoral, those who feign magic, people who worship idols, and all the other liars." When this passage is read at funerals these days, it is read for the reassuring words, "He will wipe every teardrop from their eyes, and death shall no longer exist, nor shall mourning or crying or distress exist any more, because the first things are no longer with us." The last sentence about the burning lake of sulphur is always omitted at funerals. We would, of course, like to believe that after death all our anxieties and fears will disappear. God will be encamped amongst his people, housed in tents like refugees in the wilderness, their fate now assured in a resurrected Jerusalem. Here the writer has coined a new term for the church, the bride of Christ. Our ultimate fate will be glorious. The writer can't restrain himself, however, from describing the church's enemies and persecutors with a string of unpleasant names. He calls them the cowards, traitors, perverts, the murderers, the immoral, those who feign magic, people who worship idols, and all the other liars, and sees for them the same fate as all evil-smelling rubbish, the municipal incinerator, fed with burning brimstone, a cleansing and disinfecting fire. We can't escape from the conclusion that John the Divine's visions are a bit of a mess, and his final editor has not helped by piling visions up before us in a not very helpful way. I tend to agree with those commentators who see both the bride and the New Jerusalem as both meaning the church in John's metaphor. It will have been some decades since the old Jerusalem had been demolished and its population scattered. Small numbers of Jews and Christians remained in the vicinity, however, but Jews were not allowed into the city during the remainder of the Roman hegemony. What we know as the old city of Jerusalem was in fact a Roman city called Aelia Capitolana, built on the ruins of the old in the 2nd century AD. When Emperor Constantine's mother Helena made her pilgrimage there, She found a surviving Christian community there. And once the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was built and Christianity established as the imperial religion in the mid-4th century BC, it became a centre of pilgrimage and the seat of a Christian patriarch. Now, none of these New Jerusalems is the Jerusalem John is writing about. John is writing about our eternal home, the whole church, living and departed, and even the generations of new Christians yet unborn and unbaptized. What we are given in John's Apocalypse is a glimpse into the feelings, the hopes, the dreams and the prayers of persecuted Christians at the turn of the 1st century, and what a vision they provide. Despite this book's difficulties for us 20 centuries later in grasping all it has to say, I'm really glad that it has survived for us to read. Well, now that's the end of the Apocalypses. In the following days we're going to return to the Old Testament and explore the writings of some of the prophets there, beginning first of all with Isaiah and Jeremiah back in the turbulent years around the Babylonian expansion. I'll see you tomorrow for the first of those.